All right, let's talk about the run scheme. This is going to be kind of a long video, so what I want you to do is if you ever want to skip around or look for something specific or just get the cliff notes of this, all the notation is below this video. So if you want to check the timestamps to navigate properly, or you want to see what the custom audibles are or the extra notation, it's all down there. That'll save you some time. I'll put all the important stuff in the notation as well, so you don't have to watch this full video because I hate talking about run plays. I really do. But there is important stuff in this video that you might not really pick up from the notation. So this is definitely helpful. So don't skip over it if you really want to take advantage of this scheme. So custom audibles first. I'm just going to quickly go through these because we don't need to spend a whole lot of time talking about them. They're in the notation below. Halfback dive, stretch, alert, X Loki, 0-1 trap, drive, U corner. That's for single back ace. Deuce close, halfback wham, halfback stretch, tight end angle, PA cross. Single back wing, stretch alert, smoke, halfback dive, tight end attack, Z spot. Single back wing slot, stretch alert, bubble, halfback dive, forwards, PA Y drag wheel. And then our last one's going to be single back doubles, stretch alert, bubble, halfback dive, levels divide, PA Y corner. So every single time we're going to want to tote the ball, we're going to come out as single back ace. Since I have all the plays that I really use out of this, I'm just going to come out in halfback dive. You can come out in a different pass play if you want an additional play to supplement the 4 that we have in our custom audibles. I'm going to come out in halfback dive so I can quick snap it if I want to. So here are the 2 reasons that we come out of single back ace. Number 1, it's a symmetrical formation, and what that means is if they do not have a symmetrical defensive formation to match, we can take advantage of it. That's the main reason. The second reason is, well, it is a symmetrical formation. We can flip it, and what that means is if we go to an off-balance formation like single back wing, what you're going to notice, if we run stretch, we can only run stretch to the right, because if we use our right stick to flip, it's not going to flip because it's an RPO. So what we do is if we want to run stretch to the left, what we have to do is first hit X or square and then hit RT. That's going to flip your play. As you notice, our halfback dive is now going to the left. And then now you go to single back wing. And that'll allow you to run stretch to the left. Those are the 2 reasons that we come out in single back ace. Okay? Very simple. So I want to briefly talk about defensive formations. So the first thing we're going to be looking for, is it a symmetrical formation on defense? Well, this is a 4-3 team. So they don't have 3-4 odd, which to me is like the best thing to defend single back ace. But this is a symmetrical formation. This is like 4-3 wide 9, 4-3 normal and 4-3 stack. Those are all the, I guess, the base symmetrical 4-3 defenses. So when you see this look, you see a 4-3 wide 9, you're almost never going to want to run stretch because, number 1, it's symmetrical. Number 2, sorry, I know I keep saying symmetrical, but you're going to hear it a lot because that's like half of the reason we use this scheme. The defensive ends in a wide 9 are so spread out that they're going to set a hard edge more likely than not. But what you're going to notice is there's nobody covering the center. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in halfback dive, and then we're just going to, boom, good shed by him, but that's not a good look to stop halfback dive. Right here, the safeties come down. Definitely not running stretch. If you run stretch, I'll show you, it's going to get blown the hell up. It's all about the look that they're giving you. Dive or stretch more than likely will work versus one of the looks. One thing I also want to mention, cover 0, the safeties are in run fits. That means they're going to scream down and help in run support. So if this is cover 0, which I don't think it is, we're going to get stuffed. But overall, the run plays are good. You're probably not going to see it in practice mode, but you'll definitely see it in the gameplay. So right here, the safety came down on the left. Now, we technically don't have numbers on the right, but I'm going to run stretch to the right anyways because I like the look they're giving us. We have speed. I knew that the edge guy was going to get blocked to a certain extent. Like, he wasn't going to just completely blow me up because he wasn't far enough out to set a hard edge. Right here, they're kind of clogging the box. So what that means is I don't like stretch or dive versus this. I mean, I could actually run stretch to the left, but running stretch to the right would be a bad idea because more likely than not, that tight end is going to block the not the tight end. The tight end is going to block the defensive end, and that guy on the right is going to come free. So that's why we would flip the stretch to the left, and you're going to see that if that guy doesn't make the play of his lifetime, that's going to be wide open. Right here, we're going to run halfback dive. If you don't see a player covering your center, more likely than not, dive is going to work. Right here, stretch to the left is obvious, even though that guy has a slight chance of coming free. He doesn't. And we take it to the house because we have a really fast running back, 95 speed. So, when you see a symmetrical formation, this is not technically symmetrical, but the way we're going to combat it, actually quickly, let me talk about single back deuce close. This is also symmetrical, and we're going to talk about power blocking in a second and why deuce close is better than single back ace for power blocking. We're going to want to come out in an off balance formation, so that means we're going to overload one side, and we're going to come out and stretch, and what that's going to do is give us numbers on the right, just like that. Now, a computer is not going to usually do it, but a player will. Is when he sees you go to single back wing, more often than not, they're going to do something to counter it. So they're going to spread their linebackers. They're going to shift their line right. They're going to do stuff like that, but that's okay. That's completely okay. Because when they start doing that, we'll run halfback dive. And one of the two run plays is usually going to work versus any defensive front to an extent. And by work, I mean, pick up positive yards. Right here, it's obvious to run halfback dive. Safety came down in a run fit, and we still got 6 yards. So, I mean, that's the basic gist of what we're doing here. So, it's basically look for symmetry. If they don't have it, we're going to run single back ace and run it to the side that they don't have the extra player. So, like, for instance, if they come out of nickel normal, they're going to have a slot cornerback, and we're going to run away from the slot cornerback. Right here, it's a light box, which you're not going to see. We're just going to run halfback dive. If you guys have any questions about my mentality on this and I'm not really explaining it well, or if you think I'm not explaining it well, then just hit me up on Twitter. My DMs are always open at Ace Madden Tips. Right here, I think this is cover 0, so if I run stretch, I think I'm going to get blown up because the safeties are going to scream down. They didn't actually scream down, so the stretch did end up working. So let's talk about power blocking now before we get into like all the specific different formations. So power blocking is something that is, I wouldn't say controversial, but some people think it works, some people don't. I think it does. So the way it works is, for instance, if I want to run halfback dive, usually what I'll do is right before I snap it, I'm going to hold B or circle and then go up on my left stick, and that's going to highlight my center. And then I'm going to hold my left stick up, and I'm going to snap it. One thing to keep in mind with power blocking is that your opponent can see when you highlight your offensive lineman. You can only highlight your offensive lineman on run plays. So that's a complete tell. So if you're going to do this, you have to do it quick and then snap it so your opponent really can't know it's coming. Power blocking is something that's going to give you faster and stronger blocking on that specific player. So when I do halfback dive and I hold my left stick up, I expect the center to block better than he would if he didn't get power blocked. So, for instance, I want to run halfback dive. I would do it like this. Just like that. I personally think it works. Most pro players do think it works. So, just like this. Not exactly the best front to run halfback dive versus because everybody was in the box. Right here, we're obviously going to go to an off balance. Looks like that guy actually followed. So what we're going to do is once he gets over there, we're going to come out and halfback dive. And we now have the advantage on halfback dive. Hope I'm making sense. So that's the basic gist of it. We also do have single back wing slot. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring the wide receiver over. And now we have an RPO. And I really like the stretch out of this look because it's one of those stretches that it kind of doesn't matter what the opponent does. It's usually going to work to some degree. You know, kind of like the wing flex stretch. It's just really good. It's hard to adjust to. This one's very similar, but it's more spread out. So right here, this is a perfect example of what I was talking about. They're in nickel, and they have the slot quarterback on the right. So you're never going to want to run stretch to the right. It wouldn't make any sense because that guy is not going to get blocked. So if you want to run stretch, you're going to run it to the left. And then we're going to hope that that safety who's on the left doesn't come screaming down, because if he does, we're likely not going to gain anything. So let's see. He kind of hesitated, so we still got positive yards. I personally don't like running stretch against that look, against the double A gap look, because it's just so clogged. I mean, you really have to hope that you see how, like, if you ran dive and all three of those guys on the interior had these kind of blocks, you see how there's like no lane. I know the blocking is a little bit different on a stretch than on a dive, but that's how it would kind of look. Like, that would be your hole if you ran stretch versus that look. Okay, so let's talk about the other plays. So we haven't talked about 0-1 trap yet. I like this play a lot because it's a different look to dive. So if your opponent is, you know, doing decent against a dive, go to the 0-1 trap, and it might do better because you now have a pulling guard over here, and it messes everything up. Definitely mix in the 0-1 trap because I love 0-1 traps this year. They really give you a numbers advantage, and they more often than not hold their block. They don't get tossed too often. So we're going to gain positive yards on 0-1 trap and dive more often than not. Stretches, the stretch out of single back ace is okay. If you have the numbers advantage, you know, it can work pretty well. Excuse me. Now let's talk about the pass play. Drive you corner. I don't like the pass out of any of these formations too much, but if we're going to, the way we're going to run this play, we have two different setups. We're going to smoke X. I'll put all the screenshots for the setups on this page as well. We're going to drag B and then streak A and then block RB. So this is your play. And what we're basically doing here is we have two reads. I mean, technically three if you want to count the streak. But we're reading the tight end because he's on a very sharp corner. The smoke screen is going to hold down any flat. And then we have the drag as our backup route. So let's go ahead and take a look. You're going to see, boom, we have the tight end on the sharp corner route. Good thing about this play, of course, is if you don't want to run it to that side, just hit X or square, flip, and now we have it on the other side. So very, very simple. Very simple play. Can't really man it up. It's too sharp of a corner. It's going to get separation every time. So right here, I would obviously run left, but just for the sake of showing you, we'll keep running this play. Just like that. Simple. Run that enough times, they're going to start using it. You're going to have your drag on the backside. That's the first setup. I'll show you in the other one in just a second. The drag actually got bumped. So one thing I want to mention with specific passing plays in general is if you don't want that guy to get pressed like that. So right now he's not getting pressed. But if you don't want him to ever get pressed like that, all you have to do is just motion him in just like one step. You see how he ends up running to the smoke screen though? That's why I like to usually not motion him, because he gets over too quickly. It kind of messes up the timing of everything. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Here's the second setup for drive you corner. We're going to delay fade A, drag B, block your running back. I like this versus people who like to send a lot of people at you, so like a cover zero blitz. And the reason I like it is because, by the way, don't block your tight end. Delay fade him, because if he's manned up, the guy who's manned up is not going to blitz. He's going to sit and wait for him to come out on his route. And I like this because we have By the way, that's a horrible read by me. He completely fooled me. I think he was in a soft squat. It looked like he turned his back, so I thought I could fit that in there. We have the post. My bad. Let me go back to the first setup. I'm in the second setup. Sorry. We have the post and we have the corner, so we have a little scissor action on the left. So if they're in cover 0, you know what? Let me just show you. Let me just show you versus cover 0. I don't care if this video takes forever. I want to make sure you guys have an idea of what we're doing here. So we'll do Thunder Smoke. So we'll do that setup, and then what you're gonna see is when we do this setup, we're gonna have technically 3 routes. All of them are reads, but Y is gonna get separation. But if that gets usered, we're gonna have our post over the top more than likely if we have enough room. And just like that, that's our cover 0 beater. Because we have someone fast running the post, and then we have a really fast corner route, so that has to be usered. They can't user all of these routes. They just can't. It's physically impossible. And then we also have really good pass protection because we're blocking 7. And then as you can see, this guy who's technically manned up on the tight end, he sees that the tight end stays in the block, and he's not green dogging us, which means there are certain man coverage blitzes where if the tight end stays in the block, he's going to blitz, so they always have the +1 advantage. But this isn't a case where he's going to be green dogging because he's too far away from the line. Plus, in this year's game, delay routes usually don't cause a green dog, because if they green dog and then you release, he's going to be wide open for probably like 50 yards because there's going to be nobody covering him. Hope that made sense. I'm trying not to ramble. So again, here's what we're going to do. Hopefully our running back doesn't miss that. That was kind of bad pocket by me. Let me run that again. So we'll do something like this. Stay in the pocket. Boom, 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 boom. Hang tough in there, and then give yourself a chance. If you have more room, you can kind of lob that up there. So that's the play, or gets the pass play out of single back ace. Let's go into single back deuce close. Remember, all the timestamps are in the notation below the video. So let's talk about, you know what? Let's talk about everything out of deuce close real quick. So stretch, it's very simple. It's just like single back ace. We're going to run to the side that isn't, we're going to run to the side that looks favorable to us. It's pretty simple to see which side is favorable. It's the left because the safety came down on the right, and now they have numbers on the right. So we can run stretch to the left. And the thing I like about deuce close is you can power block your offensive line because it's not an RPO. So you can power block this guy. And then just like that, get some good yards. With single back deuce close, we do have halfback wham. The reason I include wham this year is because I don't like any of the other inside runs. Like the inside zone split is really bad. And the wham is usable, but it's just such a slow animation, and the tight end gets tossed this year a lot, which means he just gets thrown around like a little boy. So I'm not a huge fan of it. But what we're going to do is power block him if we want to use this, and then, hope that he gets... You see how he just got tossed? I'll go to instant replay and show you why wham is so bad. And we still got positive yards, but it's mainly because of the look that they were giving us. You see how he just... it's like he's not even there. Freaking hiccups, man. So we got positive yards, but it's only because of the look that we're going against. And the wham, like the animation is such a... It doesn't happen fast enough. Excuse me. Tight end angle, it's still a really good play. All I really do is block the running back. And the way I like to run this, by the way, I know I'm in the middle of the field. It's really not that important right now. Don't worry about the fact that it's in the middle of the field. These pass plays will work on either side. And we're going to really throw our corner out here. Against cover 3, sometimes he'll match. Kind of depends on how they're playing the cover 3. Like if they do baseline press, I would probably never throw that. He does get over a Tampa 2 cloud if he's on the if he's running it to the wide side. So right now we're in the middle, so it's not the wide side. You obviously have the drag and stuff. It's just a simple play to run. Like I said, I don't pass out a single back that often, but it's a classic play that it does have some value to it. So like, don't be afraid to use this play. So I'll try to get it over the cloud here. You see, just like that, it still gets over clouds. So it's a useful play for sure. PA cross. What we're gonna do is, I personally like to run this. This is a bootleg to the opposite side. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I don't like that animation. I don't like that animation at all. So what we're gonna do is usually run this play to the other side. So we're just gonna flip the play. So X, flip the play. Oops. PA cross. So we have the crosser running from left to right. This is what we want. And then what you can do is delay fade both tight ends, because if they're both blocking, if they're manned up, the guy who's manned up on them is probably going to blitz you. So we want to put them on delay fades. And then it's a very simple play. All we're going to do is snap the ball, and we're going to cancel the play action. So we're going to cancel with RT or R1, and it's going to stop. It's going to stop that play action. So let me do it one more time for you guys. Remember, delay fade both of your tight ends. Make sure you flip the play. And then you're going to hold RT. I completely forgot to show it to you. I'm sorry. I'm doing this entire video in one take, so I'm going to have a couple mess ups. Delay fade. And then as soon as you snap the ball, as soon as the quarterback is about to hand it off to the running back or pretend to hand it off, you're going to hit RT or R1. So just right here, cancel it. And then you're going to throw it to your running back more often than not. Now the crosser will get open. Right here's the perfect time to run stretch left. Get off me. Let's go. So we're going to run the crosser from left to right. Delay fade. You have the option to double team one of those defensive ends, because they're probably going to be one-on-one with your tight end, which is going to be scary. Just like that. And let me throw the crosser once for you guys just to show you it's going to get over, because we have a fade clearing out. I keep forgetting to audible over to that. So you're going to see, boom. Such an easy play to run. Like, honestly, you only have 2 reads. So, very simple. That's deuce close. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I kind of like this setup. I wasn't sure if I was going to show it to you, but we're going to do it. What we're going to do is flip the play, of course. Delay fade the tight ends, and then what we're going to do is block the running back and then slant B. So we only have technically 2 routes going out. We're blocking 8, and this is your cover 0 beater. The reason we do this is because the slant's going to be cover 0, and then we have the crosser, which is also going to beat its man more than likely, especially if you have speed. Goodwin has like 98 speed, so. And then if they get this kind of look, you can just release one of your tight ends. That's the benefit of having delay fades. So if they don't blitz you, you can simply tap the receiver icon that you want to release. So let's see if they send it. Crosser is going to be wide open. Well, I didn't really pass it properly, but it was open. So I like that setup too. That's a cover 0 beater. Guy kind of just squirted through the offensive line. So that single back dude's close. I don't want to talk about these pass plays too much because you're not going to be using them much. If you really get into a passing situation, gun tight is really your move. Single back wing. We already kind of talked about it briefly, but all of our plays that we use are in our custom audible, so I'll just come out and dive. Z-spot, let's actually just talk about the pass plays. Dive and stretch are pretty self-explanatory. So with tight end attack, By the way, I want to show you something cool about this formation before I forget to explain it. If you audible to single back wing and you do like tight end attack, you can actually snap the ball before he sets. So you can see like just like that, you can kind of motion, and that's better for getting separation versus man coverage. So that's something you can do. I just wanted to show that to you real quick. Single back wing, the way I want to run tight end attack is I'm just going to drag X. Very simple. We have a good post route. We have the angled post route. So if the user follows the, I guess, the good post route from Kittle, we have that. And then we have the drag. It's just overall a really good play. Very easy to read. You're only reading 3 guys because it's just drag, post route, and angled post route. B isn't really even important. If I see this kind of look, I know it's cover 0. I mean, I'm probably going to put B on an out route. I'm just going to throw him like just like that. You only get 3 or 4 yards, but it's guaranteed. Just trying to explain my mentality. Run this again. Simple, very easy read. If they use the drag, the post, one of the posts is going to be open, usually. Unless they really know this play is coming. Just like that. Very easy play to run. Z spot only has one setup as well. And we're going to smoke screen B, drag RB. That's all you got to do. So it's the same concept that of single back ace, where you're going to kind of want to use the smoke screen to take care of a flat. And then we have the sharp corner route that's going to get separation versus man. So let's see. Just like that. I know that looks like a scary throw. Make sure you possession catch that. I was being stupid. Drag RB, smoke screen B. And just like that, they kind of have to user that. So if they go at it to user that, then the drag and the dig on the other side are going to be open. So let's go ahead and take a look. I saw the corner route was open. I just want to show you the other reads. And mainly just use these plays if you want to take your opponent off guard. Because you keep spamming dive and stretch. Next we have single back wing slot. Sorry, I know this is incredibly boring because it's just run plays and basic pass plays. But, I mean, the pass plays are good, don't get me wrong. I just don't enjoy talking about this, like, dive and stretch stuff. But it's effective. So, single back wing slot, we have everything set up properly. We'll just come out and dive. And then, you know, make the decision if we're going to pass or, you know. Stretch alert bubble I like a lot because it works versus many looks. And if they don't man up B or hard flat him, the bubble's going to be open. So just like sometime that guy will come free because there's not an extra blocker over there on the edge. So be careful with that. But you can throw that bubble. Just like that. It's a really effective stretch play. So this is one of your options to audible out of single back ace. So here's one of the pass plays. I don't really care for forwards. It's mainly PAY drag wheel we're going to be talking about. Put RB on a streak, put A on an out, and then put X on an in. So it should look like this. And then you're going to see, we're going to look for, we really have 2 routes. That's our home run. Don't expect to have that much time in the pocket. So don't use this play as like, really part of your scheme because you're really going to be tempted to throw the crosser and you're usually not going to have that much time under center. So you're really looking to take what you can get, which is going to be the out route from A or the in route from X. So right here, there is the in route. But we do have the option if we do get enough time in the pocket. So show you can double team this guy. So LB, right stick down, and then you use your left stick to toggle between the defensive linemen. We'll double team this guy. And you'll see, hopefully we get enough time. Just like that. So that's single back wing slot. So I'm trying to get through these as quick as possible because we don't use the pass plays that much. It's really about the run game here. And then we'll do single back doubles. And one thing I wanted to mention is this is not the same personnel grouping. So you cannot go from like single back A's to single back doubles because there's 3 receivers. This is going to be used later when we talk about gun tight. If someone comes out in like a big dime 1-4-6, I don't really like the halfback quick base out of this to beat that. So what I like to do is if I see that look, I'm coming to single back doubles. So as you can see, we'll go to single back tight real quick, halfback quick base. And then if I just don't like the look, we just audible on over to single back doubles. And we really only run dive and stretch. So whatever one looks more appealing to you, we're going to run that one. Right here, I like dive. Let's go ahead power block. If he doesn't get off that block, I mean, that's probably like 10 plus yards easily. You might be better served going left instead of right on the audibles. I think it's about the same. The thing I kind of hate about these RPO stretches is you can't flip them. So like against this look, I really don't like the stretch or I don't like the stretch or the dive against this because if I run stretch to the right, I'm probably going to get blown up. I'm surprised I didn't. It's like the receiver ignored the outside receiver and came to pick up that slot guy. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Any questions regarding how to run this run scheme properly? Like if I didn't cover something, let me know on Twitter. DMs are open at Ace Madden Tips. I try to get through it as quick as possible because for one, I don't think there's a whole lot of explaining to do with halfback dive and stretch. You guys should probably know, what side of the formation you want to run to just based on what your eyes are telling you. Just simple counting. You'll know when you're going against a formation that's symmetrical. So that's it for the run scheme. Let's get into how to pass out of this offensive playbook.